Welcome to Numb Bills Fan Podcast. I am your host, David Palermo. This is podcast number 171. The Buffalo Bills versus the Jacksonville Jaguars playoff preview. I call my buddy Kevin Massare up again. Really like the chemistry Kevin and I have. He's a good person, and he's really easy to get along with. And I like his takes. He kind of sends me in directions I don't really think about all the time. So I look at him like a guy to take my takes and make them real or not. And I firmly believe the Bills have a real shot at winning this playoff game. So Kevin and I pretty much talk about that. We dive into who's playing defensive tackle next to Kyle Williams if you want to get deep, you know. Don't forget Tyrod Taylor, believe it or not, is a playoff quarterback. So there you have it. And what a matchup for a guy who doesn't turn the ball over much. And I believe the Bills can sell out on the run defensively. So you'll hear all about it. Don't forget, we're brought to you by Grandstand Sports Network, which is got a bunch of cool sports podcasts on there. So grandstandsportsnetwork.com. It's a great hub to find other sports podcasts that you're into if you have other sports teams too. Locked On Bills is on there. The Rock Power Report. Look at, let's call it how it is. You got Cover One podcast with Eric Turner. He does more scouting stuff. Okay, Eric is a dedicated scout, kind of guy. He's in the scouting department. You got Kevin Massare, Aaron Quinn, and another guy, I forgot his name, at Locked On Bills doing the podcast. And that's really cool because you get Eric Turner on there as well sometimes. And you're getting information backed by good analytics by Pro Football Focus. So that's really rad. They're sponsored by them, so that's cool. So the information's as legit as we can get it. The Bills players and the coaches, they're not going to give us the plays. We have to make an estimated guess. Maybe there's some tips by anonymous sources on what's really going on. And, we get to break it down. Or at least there's a good information as Locked On Bills podcast. And I can't wait to listen to the crossover show, Bills and Jags crossover show with their Jaguars reporter. And Kevin gets into that they're going to ask them some pointed questions to see why is the team actually ranked so high, the Jaguars, in all the categories, except for one, which is stopping the run. So, look, Punch Drunk Sports, if you know about that, another great podcast. Check them out, Punch Drunk Sports. Ari Shafir, Sam Tripoli, Jason Tebow. Jason Tebow's on the DirecTV's NFL Network. He's Andrew Siciliano's right-hand man there. Gets him all the information. Great comedian. He has a album called Return to the Red State. Also, Sam Tripoli has another podcast called Tinfoil Hat Podcast and has a comedy album coming out soon as well. And check out their Patreon for Punch Drunk, and that actually helps go towards the network coming up for Punch Drunk Sports Podcast Network. And we are the official podcast for the Bills that covers the Bills for Punch Drunk Sports. So can't wait for that to drop. Just saw Jim Florentine, if anybody knows him. Great comic. Really hilarious. I've heard him for years on Rover's Morning Glory back about a decade ago. And from that damn metal show. And really cool, really fun. So he also knows those guys too at Punch Drunk, so it's pretty neat. And don't forget, Ari Shafir has a special too on Netflix called Double Negative. And if you're ever bored, go watch Ari Shafir's show on YouTube. It was actually on Comedy Central called This Is Not Happening. I watch it with the wife all the time. Really fun. So as always, thank you to everybody supporting the podcast. It's been brought to you by numbbillsfan.com. I have some giveaways coming up. Trying to get some more followers on all the platforms. Let's be honest here. So how to do it? Giveaways. Anybody want anything? Suggestions? On what to give away? I have a bunch of Bills memorabilia. Hey, shoot me a message anywhere. So hopefully you enjoy this podcast with Kevin Massare, number 171, Bills vs. Jags playoff preview. All right, and on the line is Kevin Massare from Locked On Bills podcast, which is part of presented to you by Cover One. So, Kevin, what's up, man?
Not too much, Dave. What's going on with you?
still digesting that the Bills are in the playoffs and we're still alive in life.
That's right.
Pretty crazy. I've still cried more, and I'm still really happy for the players and that stigma of Buffalo to be just shaken, So I can't believe it. I'm pretty stoked. And to be honest with you, I think the Bills have one of the best matchups they could ever have for this drought. And, we talked last podcast on number 170. And, I'm just going to dive in for the audience right now real quick. Kevin knows all this, but let's just go through some stats right off the Bills website, app, I should say. So points per game, the Bills are 22nd. The Jags are 5th. Yards a game, the Bills are 29th. The Jaguars are 6th. Pass yards a game, the Bills are 31st. The Jaguars are 17th. Rush yards a game, the Bills are 6th, and the Jaguars are 1st. So if you're looking at this, at least offensively, it's very, very, very lopsided. You have you have 3 out of 4 top 10 categories, almost top 5. And defensively, the Bills are 18th in points, and the Jags are 2nd. Defensive yards, the Bills are 26th, and the Jaguars are 2nd. Defensive pass yards a game, the Bills are 20th, and the Jaguars are 1st. Defensive rushing yards a game, the Bills are 29th, and the Jaguars are 21st. So, to me, these numbers, Kevin, if you want to go just stats and, no quarterback to be scared of and Blake Bortles, you pretty much sell out on the run, and that Marcus Murphy kid has some killer vision. He's a natural kick returner, great athlete. Got to know him a little bit in the last few days, and I think the way to let's get into it right now, Kevin. For me, I thought about this. If the Bills coaching staff is smart, if LaShawn McCoy is not 100%, he doesn't feel like he can do McCoy-ish things, I still think you put him out there and you use him more in the passing game. You have him running more routes. You have Marcus Murphy and Tolbert carry the rock more, but don't overthink it. I think the X factor is McCoy. He is still a decoy. They still have to think about him and pay attention to him. Even if it's a read option and he gets right out of the fucking way, just have it happen. That's it. He is a guy that takes a player with him, and Tyrod can do the same thing as well, and just still have him out there as a decoy. Do not do what you did with Calvin Benjamin and the Jets and not at least trot him out there to take a defender with him, because it's all about mismatches in football, right, Kevin? So what's your take? Right. I think they stop the run, they run the ball, and they stick to their strengths.
I think you got to start at the top, and when you read through those stats, it's a tale of two different teams in terms of one team cares about the statistics. What did it get them? A 10-6 record, right? The Bills are a team that literally don't care about where their statistics show, and it got them to 9-7. So all those top 5 accolades equals just about the same record. Struggled mightily down the stretch. They lost to the Titans twice, lost to the Jets. They lost to San Francisco, Arizona. So, they're losing to average to bad teams. They play a style of football because of their quarterback they're gonna limit their opposing team's yards. They're gonna really focus on that kind of stuff. But the matchup still, I think they're overperforming and the Bills are underperforming in terms of statistics. I don't mean record-wise. I think they are what they are. 10-6 is probably right with what they are. The Bills are probably right with what they are at 9-7. But those statistics just are so lopsided for the Jags, and then lopsided negatively for the Bills. The Bills play better than 29th. A lot of those categories, like their run defense is the one that is concerning to me. The Bills' run defense. Their pass defense plays way better than the whatever it is, the 20th ranked pass defense. It's not. That's stupid. They play way better than that.
I'll be honest with you, Kevin. If you look at the Bills right off the bat, the quarterbacks that they've had to play, you have Tom Brady twice.
Yep.
I really don't think Jay Cutler's that bad. Maybe people think I'm crazy.
I think the one that's even worse is Josh McCown's not that bad.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to say here is, like, Do we have to go through the list of quarterbacks that the Jaguars have had to play? You know what I mean? Like the running
I mean,
backs
if
of
it
the
helps, Jacoby
Jaguars.
Brissett twice, Tom Savage.
Okay.
You have, Marcus Mariota, who's having a terrible year twice. They did play Ben Roethlisberger. They played Josh McCown. They lost to Drew Stanton or Blaine Gabbert. I don't know which one started that Arizona game. Jimmy Garoppolo.
So
Russell Wilson. Whoever was starting at the Browns at that point.
So they played about 6 bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So far. And
And it's nothing to take away from their pass defense. I mean, their pass defense has been fine. It's been good, and it deserves to be ranked fairly high for sure. I don't think I would argue that. I think what I would argue is that, they still do have the 21st ranked run defense. That's whether it's Marcus Murphy or LaShawn McCoy. We've played Miami has a better run defense. So you have that going for you. And then you have a really good running quarterback who, they beat Russell Wilson earlier in the year, but he still put up his stats. They have a struggle against Tennessee. So there's a lot of good matchups that don't just show. If you look at the stats, it looks like Jacksonville's a 13-3 team. They're 10-6 for a reason.
What I picked up on the Locked On Bills podcast with Aaron Quinn was the guest he had on today or yesterday. He mentioned that Paul Posluszny, 33, my age. So 33, and you could even get Nick O'Leary on him, and he's pretty much done. So it's a mismatch. I need tight end on Paul Posluszny. So, the Bills tight ends were used heavily last time, and I don't care what happens. I just want to see them, again, be smart. I thought the last game they played was really telling. The coaching staff has come a long way implementing smart decisions and being a little bit, quote-unquote, riskier in situations, not as conservative. And Doug Marrone is going to punt. Doug Marrone is going to Marrone. And what's awesome is I think of all people, Tyrod Taylor is the X factor of this game. And what I mean by that is if there's a game for Tyrod Taylor to take over, you know what I mean? I'm reminiscing on Tyrod against the Titans a couple years ago. Maybe his first year playing for the Bills as a quarterback, and against the Titans, he just took over. You know what I mean? He just took over and won the game for the Bills. And we've seen him against the Giants his first year on the Bills as well. Have 2 touchdowns negated. The Bills should have won that game at home. But, we've seen Tyrod take over, and I just hope the advantage of McDermott and his process is everything is consistent, and I like that. So these players have grown to adjust with the coaching staff, and the coaching staff has really adjusted to its players. And defense, the first fundamental, Kevin, of defense is stopping the run. So for me, I think that's easy when you don't have a franchise quarterback, a guy who can sling the ball around the yard. Hey man, Trey White, EJ Gaines, very smart, very, very smart players. And what I mean by that is they're hyper aware of their body. They're hyper aware of where the ball is. They're always causing turnovers. And for really, a lot of people are getting very frustrated with Trey White. They must not be able to get open on him because they are getting really frustrated with him. Do you notice that?
Right. I just think you look at the tale of two teams, right? That's what I'm calling it. I think that they play a solid style of defense for Jacksonville. Now, I don't know necessarily that Paul Posluszny is the guy that's covering tight ends right now on their team. They do eliminate running back catches and tight end catches, who the Bills love to throw to. So the Paul Posluszny is going to cover your best player aspect is going to be a little bit overblown because he's not the one going to be covering Charles Clay. So we'll get some good insight on that on the Locked On crossover show tonight. We'll run Locked On Bills, Locked On Jags. So it'll be interesting to see what they tell me about why their stats are, top 5 in a lot of categories, and they're 10-6. I mean, they have stats as good as or better than New England if you just look at statistics. So what's preventing them from being 13-3? Why do they have 3 more losses than they should? That's what I'm most interested to find out tonight. Is it Doug Marrone? I mean, punting the ball, look, even with Adam Gase last week, it was frustrating because he's clearly going for it when he should be kicking field goals or punting. It just gives your team just a wild card, just such a better chance to win when you're doing stuff like that than playing conventional football. And Doug Marrone's the opposite. He's going to play straight up conventional football.
I'm curious to see just Chris Ivory is pretty dinged up, so it's going to be Leonard Fournette. And I think when the Bills have faced some good running backs, they've actually shut them down. When they've only had to, I don't know. I say that, and they're not really. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's been a couple games, Kevin, where they've done really good. We've seen
they can't stop Deion Lewis to save their life. Deion Lewis absolutely torched them. I think Kareem Hunt was really the only one they've stopped in any recent memory.
Yeah, well, Kareem Hunt and the other dude last week on Miami, he didn't really do anything either, Drake.
I mean, yeah, he didn't go off, but he still ate. He still had his day. Got thrown out late in the game, but he
had a couple big runs, but I didn't really feel that he was that impact like Jay Ajayi was, where it was just, what are we doing? Like Jay Ajayi forever scarred me. It was.
Yeah, I mean, he went for 14 for 75 for 5.4 average, which is solid, and 16 for 78 in the first game, 4.9 average, and the touchdown. So yeah, it wasn't quite the 200 yards Ajayi picked up back-to-back games against the Bills last year.
What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to hang my hat on anything that can get me thinking that the Bills can key in on Leonard Fournette, because if that's all they have. But at the same time, many teams know that and they can't stop it. So it's like, I really don't know how to go about, it's like, all right, if Preston Brown is not as good in coverage as he is at stopping the run,
mm-hmm.
It's like an arrow up. You follow me?
Yeah.
Like it's a better mismatch for this Bills defense because he can clean up. He's smart. Now Matt Milano has an injury a little bit, right? Is it a hamstring or something? He has some kind of injury. I thought he's a little bit limited.
Yep. He is nursing it. He's been out of practice both days.
But Ramon Humber was effective when he was in last game, and Lorenzo Alexander, another smart player out there too. So I think if they're focused in the Bills on this playoff thing and all the momentum is behind them, I think naturally without trying they're actually going to be a 25. I don't think we're going to see the same Bills team that we've been seeing. I think it's going to be really intense. I don't think the Jaguars truly give a fuck.
I mean, it's going to take turnovers. I mean, Jacksonville turns it over, 12th in the league with 23 turnovers. They do get the ball a lot. So, that's really where the matchup starts and ends for me. I mean, the Bills are very good at not turning it over, 16 total turnovers on the year. 5 of them were Nathan Peterman. So, 11 when Tyrod Taylor's quarterbacking the team. That'd be the lowest in the NFL with Kansas City. So it's already 27. So there's the matchup difference is that Jacksonville's going to want to turn the ball over, and they're not going to – they get 33 turnovers this season. That's 2 a game. They're not going to get it from Tyrod. Then if they continue to turn it over with their quarterback at 23 times per game, or excuse me, 23 times this season, which is a turnover and a half per game. So you look at that. So you're going to have plus a half to a full turnover in Bill's favor. That they're going to need to turn to points, whether it's 3-7. That's where the matchup starts. I mean, they're the number 1 team in the league in sacking the quarterback. So they have a lot of stats in their advantage. The ones that aren't, in my opinion, are their run defense, where the Bills need to take advantage, and their giveaways. So they're going to take the ball away, but I don't think they are this week. So it's those 2 things. It's the giveaways, and it's your run defense. Really probe Jacksonville in every other facet of the game, but still only equal 10-6 at the end of the day. What can you say? That's a 10-6 season that they overperformed. That's what the statistics say.
I mean, at the same time, you could say the Bills have overperformed, and it's like
but not statistically, Dave. You just read me off stats that said they're 29, 29, 20.
Exactly.
29.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of people.
They overperformed in the win column, but not in the stats.
And it's weird. It's like everybody I talk to and people I think that are smarter, they're like, no, man, it's the coaching. It's the coaching. It's the coaching. And honestly, I've been really resistant to that. But, I didn't really emphasize this enough. I know you only got a couple minutes left here, but I didn't really emphasize this enough last podcast. And it's really, I got to just let it go a little bit. The guys learning, they got into the playoffs, and that's really, it really kind of levels it out for me. There's time to make adjustments. There's going to be some good coordinators or adjustments they can make. Who knows? Maybe Rick Dennison and Tyrod Taylor have some great relationship. I know that the players are behind Tyrod Taylor, on that team. They're definitely behind Tyrod Taylor. And, hey, guess what? Tyrod is a playoff quarterback, and people need to accept that. And now is the time for him to, he can either go one of two ways. He could really try Edwards this situation and be captain super conservative. Or you, what you can do is let it rip. Let it rip. I mean, you still have Calvin Benjamin out there. I just want to see mismatches. I don't want to see the same old football from the Bills. I should say not same old, but I just don't want to see something super predictable because LaShawn McCoy is a mismatch. I don't care if he's Halvin out there. My theory with him at receiver, Kevin, Moore, is he can still at least have that quickness and have more space to make moves. You follow? So maybe dial up some screens for him, stuff like that, where if he has to be in a phone booth, he ain't going to be as effective with that ankle. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
I still think he will be effective. I'm really looking forward to see what Marcus Murphy can bring. That kid's vision was like Mike Gillislee, but a little bit faster. And which I always related Gillislee to Fred Jackson. I thought Tolbert ran well north-south. I thought Tyrod Taylor last game was very effective. And, everything they've been asking Tyrod to do over the years, he figures it out. And I don't think there's a quarterback I'd be more confident in here because, let's just say Tyrod has that anomaly day where he actually throws for 300 yards and has 60 yards rushing. Can you complain with that? Or he runs for $1 and your other running backs combined for 75 yards to 100 yards. I mean, you're talking about a lot of clock eating up. You're talking about a lot of control. The Bills need to get points early and just hold steady. You know what I'm saying, Kevin? I think the secondary has proved it to put even more pressure on them, honestly. And I don't think they'll bat an eye. So any final thoughts you have to that? I think the Bills can really do it. I really think the Bills are going to win.
I think they're more evenly matched than the statistics show. So, another place where, if you're really getting into the nitty-gritty of the matchup, and you should, you got the Bills that are fairly unpenalized too. I mean, there's been games that are worse than others, but they've only had 98 against, which is, good for top 10 in the league, which is 9th actually. And then you have Jacksonville, which is a little bit more down the cusp, 112 penalties that they're sitting at, more like 20th in the league. So there's an advantage there that, the Bills are a little bit better coached. The Bills have only benefited 97 penalties against them, meaning teams that play them only have actually less somehow than the Bills' already decent number. They're 5th in the league in not getting penalties called for them in terms of the other team getting a penalty. So, that's very interesting to me where, if you look at it, Jacksonville's actually top 8th in the league in receiving penalties. 112 have been called for their opponent, meaning they've benefited from. So, it's an interesting thing to look at. You can look at penalties there. Turnovers I still think are a big thing that point the Bills' way. Both their kicking games are strong, 91%. Both teams are making their field goals.
I think the Bills are going to be so spry. Isn't there like snow in Jacksonville right now as of Thursday today is? It was snowing, and you want to know something? I sound more like an Italian. I think if I'm going to put on my conspiracy theory gambling goggles on, the storyline is there for the Bills. The Bills are lucky this is their Cinderella season. They're going to get the breaks, okay? The Jaguars, sorry, the refs have already won this game for the Bills, I think, honestly. I think it's in. The Bills are way better TV ratings. The Bills fans are wild. They can't just end in this week. So the Bills, again, need to just stay out of their way, and I think they're getting hot right when we need them to, Kevin, and that's right now. And I referenced the Giants last podcast. I don't know if you caught it. You were on it. So I referenced the Giants last time. And I like this to build off of. Next year is going to be the craziest offseason ever between the draft. There's so much equity, so much free agent ammunition with the Bills in the playoffs right now. And Bills Mafia is going to reign true. And they even had to stop. They banned selling tables in the city of Jacksonville, and the city of Buffalo got involved. And, to the Bills Mafia people out there, don't be a dick on the internet. Just chill out with your internet wars. I mean, stop. God, I hate the internet sometimes. It's like I like to go on those sites to see some stuff, but I really just like to promote the content there. But, Kevin, the Bills are still in the playoffs, man.
That's true, man. I mean, they're there. They're right there, Dave. I mean, they're still there. They still have a winnable game. And plus, it's the time of year where you can't just expect to have matchups in your favor anymore. Like, you're not playing the Jets every game, the Dolphins every game. You're not getting the Colts with Jacoby Brissett anymore. You're going to be playing only teams better than Jacksonville with New England and Pittsburgh waiting in the wings. So
I think the Bills line up with New England. I really do. The Bills are due. They are very due.
It's tough to beat anyone 3 times in a season in any sport.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully something's in their favor with that game as well. So, even the other matchup was Kansas City. I still don't like going there again and winning back-to-back games in Arrowhead. No way, Dave. That wasn't going to happen.
No.
You're not going to go there and beat them twice, Andy Reid specifically. I mean, that game's going to be a bigger blowout, Kansas City, Tennessee. I just don't see Tennessee competing in that game. I don't think they're very good. And Kansas City is going to take care of their business, and they're going to go on and probably potentially play Pittsburgh based on our game, although they match up better with New England too. So they're actually probably rooting for us to lose. They'd probably rather play New England.
Do you have any one last thing before I let you go?
Yeah, sure.
Because I got to get out. I always hate, we have crushed Doug Marrone, Deacon, and I for years. And as he's gotten older and we've grown away from the situation, the more I like him. And, I really did like the Marrone hiring when it happened. I just didn't like how he left the team, and I didn't like that, mid-season that they finally opened up the playbook. And I was complaining about that with this staff now, that it took him a season and a half for Marrone's staff. But, I got to say, though, still as a fan, screw Marrone. You know what I mean? I really hope for the fan base the Bills do it. But again, you only have Eric Wood, Cordy Glenn, who won't be starting. Sancho Henderson was on the team, which he might be playing. But Jordan Mills allegedly at practice had his helmet on and stuff. Looked like he was doing some stuff. So, and Jordan Mills, good kid. Really like that kid. We really critiqued the right side of the line. But, he works so hard, and in the offseason to hear him just like, hey, I'll do whatever it takes. I just want to play. I want to be on the team. And just very ecstatic about that. And for him to get another shot, I thought Aaron Cromer did a nice job with the offensive line. I thought Jordan Mills was okay last year. But it's like I feel bad for those players. But, man, you got Jerry Hughes and Kyle Williams and Preston Brown. That's it. That said, it's a playoff game for the Bills. I think we have nothing to worry about with this team being prepared or not. I think they're going to be 100% prepared. And guess another thing, too, is they say that they watch a lot of Jaguars tape anyways because their defense runs the same stuff. So this offense should be ready to run against that defense, but that's also the same advantage of Blake Bortles. So he's used to seeing a similar defense as well. At least that's what the Bills players are saying about the Jaguars as they watch during the season. They watch their tape to see different concepts executed that they borrow as well. So kind of a little interesting fun fact there, I thought, for preparation.
No, I mean, it's worth noting that the Bills are going to be prepared. They're going to have seen this defense. They're going to be coming in with extra motivation. I mean, Jacksonville ended their streak as well. They had a fairly sizable, I don't remember if it was 9 or 10.
I think it was 9.
9, okay.
9 years.
So a fairly sizable one for them as well. Bills, the Bills fans are going to go over there and fairly show out. It's going to be 40s degree, 30 to 40, maybe middle to upper 40s. I don't know what the game temperature is going to be, but that's cold for them. So in their own stadium, I mean, there's not a ton of advantage, in my opinion, between the weather, the Bills fans, and them already having like a more mild fan base. You're going to have all those are favorable to want to play on the, like, I don't have any interest in going to Arrowhead. Never did, never will, especially in the playoffs. I would have no interest in going to Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Those are some of the places I just would have no interest in playing.
Do you want to go to Foxborough?
You mean if we make it?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of do, yeah.
Would your wife go? Because I'll ask mine.
Yeah, she might.
I'll just tell her, like, yo, we're going. So,
she might. I think it's a Saturday night game. I think the schedule is already out. Do you know? I think it's a Saturday night.
It's not that bad of a drive, man. We could take a rapey, a.k.a. the van. You know what I mean? Just get to my crib.
What is it, like 6 hours from Rochester?
7, I think.
Is it really? A full
Maybe
7?
6 or 7. I don't know.
I think it's 7 from Buffalo.
I thought Connecticut was 7. And I thought you kind of go through to... I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. Why are you listening to me? What am I, the TripAdvisor, Kevin?
Yeah, you're the TripAdvisor, Dave. Let's see, I can just Google it real quick for you. From Rochester to Foxborough.
Yeah.
6 hours, 12 minutes.
Okay, well, with me, that's about 5 hours. So,
okay.
10 over at all times. And I don't take pee breaks. If you got to pee, you better pee in a cup.
Boston, so, I mean,
I don't know. I've been told I have crazy looking eyes lately, so like I ain't worried about it. I wear my jersey proud.
Saturday at 8:15, so you could even leave Saturday. I mean, it's Saturday at 8:15.
Kevin, you come into town. We'll get a little breakfast, okay, and then we'll leave here at like 9 after breakfast. We'll get there at 5, and we'll have a good time, okay?
And then you sleep over, and then you drive back Sunday. Yeah, really.
Yeah, because Tom Brady did not look good the last time the Bills played him. And, I mean, second half he warmed up, but come on. When push-off Gronk gets wide open
If we make it, we're going to have to seriously consider this depending on tickets pricing.
Well, the way I look at it is,
I don't know that I can drop $1,000 on a ticket.
Dude, what if it's $500? I would spend $500 because there's no airfare. That's the hiccup for the Jacksonville games. Is I can't Christmas mortgage. I can't. I mean, I gotta pay that mortgage by the 15th too. So
I know.
You know?
Yeah, no, that I could do that. I'm just saying, Foxborough's has a propensity to be like $1,000 now.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep.
How
about this?
How come we
through this one?
How come we can't go there and report for like our network, Grandstand Sports Network? If you don't know, grandstandsportsnetwork.com, brought to you by this podcast, and so is Kevin with Locked On Bills and the whole Locked On Bills franchise. Grandstand Sports Network. Thanks, guys.
Hey, you never know. Hey, we'll see what we can pull off, but let's see what happens here, and then we'll seriously talk about it on Sunday night.
All right, Kevin. Well, is that all you got for us, bud?
I think you really do, just in this matchup before looking forward to the Patriots, which is really cocky of the 6th seed to be saying. I just don't think I said it before we were even in the scenarios and the playoffs happened that I'd love to match up with Jacksonville. I just think it's always a winnable game, no matter what. When you're playing a quarterback like Blake Bortles, I think he's the worst quarterback left.
Yeah.
Him and Mariota and then Tyrod are probably the bottom 3. And then you got Nick Foles, who isn't very good, but that doesn't matter. He's in the NFC. But and then Case Keenum. I mean, he's been playing great football, but he's not very good either. So, you don't have the loadest quarterback here in this playoffs. I mean, you don't have Rodgers, you don't have Flacco.
I mean, honestly, get used to it. I've been saying it for a couple of years now. These franchise quarterbacks, quote unquote franchise quarterbacks, are dying. Okay.
You don't have Russell Wilson. You don't have.
Dude, I'm so shocked that Jack Del Rio got fired. Do you know that?
Yep.
I am so shocked that Jack Del Rio got fired. Like, you and I should do another podcast tomorrow if you would even want. Just about these playoffs. Just to.
Yeah, we can get into that. I shouldn't have gotten into the.
Oh no, I'm just saying in general. I would love to just shoot the skinny with you on the playoffs real quick because, interesting matchups. I follow the Vikings not as tight as I used to, but I'm really stoked for them. Zimmer is a hell of a coach. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good conversation to get into some of those different day. But I guess on a final point to note, I do think that coaching is part of the reason why the Bills are 9-7. The Jags, with all their stats of 10-6, I mean, in my opinion, Marrone's done wonders to get them to 10-6. So, but if you look at their stats as we have all day, that team should be way higher than 10-6 with those kind of stats. So why are they? Why aren't they 3-13 or 13-3? I mean,
well, we'll find out. You're podcasting what in 5 minutes?
Yeah, in a couple minutes here. As soon as they get online, I'll be podcasting. So.
Yeah, so we'll find out where will your podcast be and when can we drop it, because we'll get down right to the nitty gritty. I just had to air it out with you. I think the Bills have a shot, a real good shot. Like I honestly think it's a 60-40 just because they could sell out on the run. So
I think they have to. So you can find anyone listening, tune into the Jags Locked On show. It's always really good to get someone similar to myself or Dave, their opinion on the Jaguars. Jaguar. How do you Jaguar? Jaguar.
Yeah, Jaguars.
But it's not wire, so it's Jaguar.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jaguar. I don't want to sound like an idiot. Jaguar. Okay.
Don't worry, Kevin. We're not going to delete the last 15 seconds here. So if you want,
dude, actually,
I can put it at the end.
You should see the comments. You should see the comments. Like, I hate the word Jaguar. I hate the word Jaguar. I hate the word Jaguar. It's like, all right, man. I guess we have English enunciation.
How do you spell it? Jagwire?
Well, that's how
you
we say
Jaguar.
It.
Did you put a dash in there too?
No. That's how I say it. Jaguar.
Oh.
That's not how I spell it. That's how I say it.
I'll say Halloween. So
how do you say it? How do you say their team name?
I say Jaguar, like Jaguar, like Mortimer.
That's right.
Like I'm gonna take
Jaguar.
a sweater and fold it over my chest.
Right, like the car, Jaguar.
Yeah, like a dude you want to punch in the face, that doesn't look like me.
Jaguar. Anyways,
Jaguar. Yeah.
You can find our crossover show with the Jaguars here in the next. It'll probably be recording in the next 45 minutes. It'll be up probably around 9:30 p.m. Check it out because you're going to get their coverage. People who spend their days in life thinking about the Jaguars, which is crazy to me, but. They do have really good people over there. I'm really looking forward to the call. They do have a strong defense, so I am interested to see what they have to say.
Their defense is no joke. They're going to punch you in the mouth, and hey, I think it's going to be okay. We know one thing though is if you listen to the media, quarterback is most important position on the field, and I don't think there's any more typical Bills, man. I think it's over. It's a new thing. It's not everything is riding on getting to the damn playoffs. It doesn't matter. We're here. It's a clean slate.
I just want one win, Dave.
I can't wait
to
see it.
Go to Patriots and do not pull it off. I just want to win. I want to end the drought. I want to end the playoff winless drought and really have something to build on. That's my goal.
Kevin, I just don't think it takes that much to get to the Super Bowl, man. It's football and anything happens. This sport is so crazy. The Baltimore Ravens made and won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Against Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Peyton Manning thrown for the most touchdowns probably of his career that season. And nobody beats my man Brett Favre. You want to look at Tom Brady's stats at 40-something. Look at Brett Favre, okay? Brett Favre I would still take Brett Favre over half the league now.
Yep. No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't think this team's quite talented to make it there.
I just think matchup wise, you've played the Patriots so many times. That said, I look at the defensive tackle spot next to Kyle Williams, and it's a big question mark. It's a big question mark. I don't know. What do they do about that? How do you? I don't even know where to think. I don't know. That's something that they'll probably get somebody in the third round because Adolphus Washington, he's kind of not been good, right? Is that the story with him this year?
Right.
Which was a shocker to me. So
Yeah, he's one of the last ranked defensive tackles in the league. So him and Coleman was awful before getting cut, and so was Thornton, who I was expecting to play a little better.
I saw Lorenzo Alexander at the defensive tackle spot, and he was getting penetration.
Right.
So and oh, by the way, Matt Milano, does that kid he should be named like the penetrator. I had to double check the screen last week. He had a tackle for a loss for 6 yards. And I don't know. He's just always in the backfield, man. I had to double check my eyes.
It's true, but he might not be able to go, which is I haven't liked Ramon Humber from the day he stepped on this field. He started playing okay in the beginning of the season, and he went out with a little nagging injury, and he's been not very good. So Milano's one of those guys who, if he doesn't get on the field tomorrow, you're not going to give a rookie linebacker in the playoffs. He can't play too much, practicing nothing during the week. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of good matchups. This team isn't talented to make the Super Bowl, but I do think they could surprise here in this Jacksonville game and maybe put up a fight in New England.
I got my blind faith, Kevin. No one's knocking me off that, okay? No one is telling me this is not a championship caliber team, all right? This is playoff caliber. Well, we're here, baby, and it doesn't matter. And I'm not even trying to be corny. I really feel that way, and I feel like I'm into Chan Gailey years no, man, any given Sunday, dude, and that's totally the truth. I still feel that way, and I would just feel
a lot different if they didn't have to roll through New England, honestly. The Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Tennessee three over there, that's some winnable games. If Pittsburgh gets upset by Kansas City, my morale goes up a tenfold. If you had a Kansas City or Tennessee versus the Bills AFC Championship game, that'd be great.
Right. Well,
that'd be great.
Kevin, I'm gonna wrap this thing up here.
Alrighty.
The Bills have a real shot. Shout out to Bills Mafia for traveling well and being great fans, and everybody's supporting the team. It's great to see the Bills getting some good publicity. We can finally look at this team objectively and not have the drought just be that elephant in the room. I'm very stoked for the future. I can't wait to talk about more things. So I'm hoping to preview the Patriots after this. I really feel the Bills have a shot, as Kevin and I talked. Again, Locked On Bills, Kevin Massare on Twitter.
That's right. It's going to be fun. I'll leave you with one final thought. If the Bills do pull through against Jacksonville and then pull through New England, that's where the final game could be Pittsburgh, and that's very close. An AFC Championship game in Pittsburgh could be a lot of fun.
That would be fun, and I bet you Pittsburgh fans would actually be cool.
They'd love it because they probably think the Bills. They'd much rather play the Bills than the Patriots.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So everyone would be in high spirits. They'd probably be cool because we're not going to go in there in our high horse like Patriots fans would.
What if the Patriots lose their bye week? Ding.
I would do anything for that to happen, to be a real thing.
I don't know, man. I hope it happens, Kevin. I hope it happens.
They have to get through Jacksonville first, and we'll see if they can even show up against a really good team in Jacksonville, defensively a really good team. And Leonard Fournette has last thing, Dave, I want to say on your podcast is Leonard Fournette has even admitted to not liking being tackled in the cold. Well, he's going to have a long day.
He's going to have a really long day, and there's no team better prepared than the Bills. They fought through more shit this year than any other team.
They just got to recover onside kicks. If they were winning in this game and Jacksonville goes and kicks an onside kick, I swear I'm going to be holding my breath.
Don't get me going on special teams. Okay? Don't even get me started.
Yeah, we'll save that. Well, anyways, yeah, you can find me at Kevin Massare at Locked On Bills, a crossover edition, so anyone to tune into that. It'll be great to hear their point of view. It's really helpful for Bills followers to get where they're coming from. You got to hear some of their positives and some of their negatives to really get a real feel for the game, in my opinion.
You know what? I like podcasting with you because we're distributors of information. I don't know everything, but I want to try to talk to people who do know more than us, and it's great that you're doing that. And hopefully, people can make their own opinion, their own predictions, put them out there, send them in to us. You can find me on Twitter, Numb Bills fan, and Kevin Massare. I'm also on Instagram, so Facebook as well. So send anything in, and shout out to the Reddit crowd if you're listening. And on behalf of Punch Drunk Sports and Grandstand Sports Network, this has been Numb Bills Fan Podcast number 171 with Bills vs. Jags playoff preview with Kevin Massare. So, Kevin, thank you as always, and, we'll talk after. We'll probably talk playoffs before, too, at least in text. So,
Sounds good, Dave. Thanks for having me on again.
no sweat, Kevin. Thanks, man.
I'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.